Holland is a small country, centuries old, and packed with people who've learned how to live together in close quarters. The Dutch have become experts at getting along with one another. Their society teaches respect for diversity of thought and lifestyle, and for over 20 years, the Dutch have been very tolerant of marijuana. It's been decriminalized, and guess what? It's no big deal.
Well, I'm a mild-mannered reporter for a major national magazine, High Times.
Let's meet Ed Rosenthal, investigative reporter, author of 7 books about marijuana, and our tour guide to the world's first truly liberated zone. Ed's an American, but he conducts most of his research in Holland. He's written about how to grow marijuana and how to defend yourself legally if you ever get in trouble. You could say he's been the Johnny Appleseed of pot.
Ideas that we had in the 60s and 70s have really been integrated into the society.
It's the paradise, I think, one of the best countries you can live in the world, yeah.
The Dutch have made it simple.
Here's Rose. She's Dutch, but she didn't know much about coffee shops until she came with us on Ed's trip. She's an old friend of the family, and she speaks the language, so we took her along. Holland has an innovative approach to its policy on drugs. You can buy marijuana or hashish over the counter, roll a joint or fill a pipe, sit out in the open air and get high, or you can take your purchase home and enjoy it there, and not get busted.
So what do you feel about all this?
So here, it's like, you know, when you come from there to here, it's like dying and going to heaven. It's the difference between bondage and freedom.
I feel very comfortable here. I did within 3 or 4 months. It's just a different feeling, you know. For one thing, the smoking marijuana, I mean, I can smoke marijuana and I'm not looked upon as a drug addict, you know, like you are in the States. I mean, they're not going, oh, drugs.
These people have come up with a lot of practical solutions. The Dutch transportation system is one of the planet's most inventive, efficient, and fun. Built on bicycles, skates, trams, and trains, people move easily and freely around the country. At the heart of Amsterdam is the Central Rail Station, where you can get the best exchange rate for your money and board a train for anywhere in Europe. The Dutch have also created a wealthy society, with a wide safety net that provides medical coverage, housing, and other basic needs, and there are almost no guns.
Basically, in Holland, you can do what you want to do as long as you're not harming anyone. Any kind of physical violence then is penalized.
Do you know how long you have to wait to get a gun in this country?
How long?
7 years. Years.
I'd like to take you to some places in Amsterdam and in Holland that you ordinarily wouldn't get to see.
Can I have a joint?
Rose had never smoked pot before. It just didn't seem that important to her. But after she met Ed, she became a little curious about the plant and its effects.
The Dutch are an extremely pragmatic people. And when they saw that drugs could be a problem, they adopted a different policy than the United States. One that was based on the social good and social harm. So they separated soft drugs, marijuana and hashish, from all of the other drugs because they felt if they were able to do that, that there would be little harm to society from the soft drugs and they could keep people away from the hard drugs. It was a brilliant piece of social policy. This experiment is now 25 years on, and it's been proven successful.
We want users to be as healthy, as normal citizens as possible. Just the fact that people use a drug doesn't mean we don't want them to work. Yes, we want them to work. If possible, we want them to pay taxes. Imagine you're 16 years old in the Netherlands. You go to a coffee shop and you smoke a joint. Okay. In America, you're likely, before you've even smoked a joint, to be in contact with crack and heroin, and because it's all mixed. Here, there's no way in a coffee shop you will find heroin. It's a different scene. And people are educated in high school about the differences. They're shown the drugs, not in a DARE program, but by their teachers, that there's differences. And they know that cannabis is not totally harmless, but there's little harm. It's less harmful than alcohol. They know this, kids.
It's really for me a new world here in Amsterdam. And in the whole of Netherlands we went to Nijmegen, to the castle. That was really like something I had never seen and never heard of it. Like I knew that there were coffee shops, but not that it was such a big business.
The Sensi Seed Company produces and sells top-quality marijuana seeds. In Holland, it's a strictly legal, multi-million-dollar business. Ed took us to their headquarters at the Cannabis Castle to meet Ben Dronkers, one of the world's cannabis tycoons.
Hey guys, nice you can.
Oh, it's nice to see you, Ben.
Welcome in Sensi's Cannabis Castle. We put some flowers already here for you.
Oh, they're beautiful.
And come and have a look for the rest of it.
Okay, let's go in.
You know, it's Cannabis Castle, and here we produce all the seeds we have in this catalog. So this is what we do, and now I'd like to show you some of the dungeons we have here.
Okay.
As you see, this is room number 1, and here we keep all the mothers. This is the mother room. You see all the ladies here, some varieties. This is one of the mother rooms. We got several of them. This room, room number 6 by chance, is one of the most important males we got. I have to keep secret which one it is, but we always have one flowering, always. So you see one flowering here, and the new one is coming. This is the boys and the girls together. The pollinating room. Having sex all the time, they're very happy, you can see that. These are the Lebanese I told you about.
Yes.
And it's a very special plant, I think. It's supposed to be out the Baalbek Valley, known for the good red and yellow Lebanese hash they made there. It's a special variety, and we're really curious what it's going to do. You can see also it comes quite high, and it might be a solution for some hemp problems in the rest of the world, like Australia. And so we try to crossbreed also, not only for the marijuana thing, but also for the hemp thing. people think marijuana is one plant, so you grow it and you know it, but it's like people. You have so many different kinds, you know, and then again it's like wine because you have so much different taste and so much different uses for the plant. So this is why it's important that we have as many different varieties of seeds as we can, and we're always working on it.
Breeders take advantage of the hardy nature of cannabis to produce large quantities of seed from the same plant. When cuttings are taken from a plant and potted, they'll grow. This process, called cloning, makes the genetic composition of a good mother plant infinitely reproducible. Now we're going into the greenhouse that's used for seeding. These plants are in all different stages. Here, the leaf is dying and the seeds are almost ready. The Dutch are pioneers of indoor growing. They've developed techniques for controlling light, heat, and moisture that make the growing season year-round.
The United States used to produce the best marijuana, but with all the repression, most growers cannot exchange information, cannot get access to newer varieties and different seeds, and the technology leadership has transferred to Holland.
My name's Richard Lee, and I'm getting seeds for a Cannabis Buyers Club back in Texas.
People come from around the world to buy Dutch seeds. Many grow plants to get high, but others use cannabis for medical purposes. It's used to treat glaucoma and multiple sclerosis, and also helps cancer and AIDS patients by relieving nausea from chemotherapy so they can eat and maintain their weight.
I use marijuana medically as a muscle relaxant. People with spinal cord injuries have problem with muscle spasms, and marijuana is one of the oldest muscle relaxants known, and it helps to keep my legs from twitching and having spasms.
Richard is a member of a unique group of Americans who have started cannabis buyers clubs in the U.S. They have banded together to buy marijuana for medical reasons, many with prescriptions, and they haven't been disturbed by the police.
This is an article I did for Highlands magazine about the biggest, most active coffee shop in the world. It's a Cannabis Buyers Club in San Francisco, not in Holland, and it's totally illegal, but totally unharassed by the police.
I'm gonna show you something, and don't think marijuana, okay? This is hemp, and this is hemp in Holland.
This may look like marijuana, but it's not. It's a relative in the cannabis family, but it won't get you high. It's called hemp and has few active drug ingredients, but many uses as a fiber. It can be made into clothing, rope, cosmetics, and paper. The seeds are used for oil and food. The leaves are used for suntan lotions, as they're a good UV filter. Its straw can be turned into bricks to be used like wood for building or burning. Hemp is also a very pest-resistant plant, so you don't need harmful insecticides.
Also, when hemp is there, you don't find any weeds under it, so it kills all the weeds.
The atmosphere benefits from hemp. The ground benefits from hemp. The end products that are produced can put us in a position that we are no longer dependent upon petroleum and wood products.
You know, the hemp is a big friend of the world, humankind, and not his enemy, you know, it's a friend. And the farmers, it's very funny what they say. Some of them, they say, you can take a chair in certain weeks, you know, you take a chair, sit next to it and see it growing. It grows 10 centimeters or more a day.
Some people are starting to realize that hemp could solve some of the world's energy problems too. And wouldn't that be a twist?
It would be great though to sell Dutch hemp clothing manufactured, completely grown here. It's perfect PR for Holland again.
I'm standing here at the counter of Greenlands, which was the first hemp store in Amsterdam and one of the first hemp stores in the world. What's your favorite?
The blues, of course.
These?
Yeah, I have this one on. It's one of my favorite, and it's pure hemp. It's summer cloth, and yeah, this lasts for 30 years. Yeah,
Is that guaranteed?
Yeah, I give a guarantee. It fits very good, and it's becoming softer and softer every time.
It gets softer when you wash.
Yeah.
That's a really nice color too. It's a nice color for me. Don't you think you should give it to me? Come on, hey.
'Cause it's a way and that a miracle inside of me. And I feel like a child again. And I feel like a woman. And I feel like a child again. And I feel like a woman.
Just a small piece of that.
Before we knew it, Ed had us in Positronics, a supply shop where you can get everything you need to grow marijuana.
I know that this grass might be very good, but I also know that you have a philosophy about what is the best grass. What is the best grass?
The best grass is the grass that you grow yourself.
And is that the philosophy behind this whole place?
Yes.
Is that it?
Yes.
You know, pot isn't addictive, but growing is.
Yes. And it's also a way of life. It's the feeling that you have that you're completely in control over your own marijuana supply. And for growers, it's very easy to make their own soil, because you take 50% of potting ground, 40% of perlite, and maybe 5% of worm castings, and 5% of this, and you're ready. These are the biological anti-insect sprays.
Yes. How do you say this?
Oh yeah, plantbescherming, plant protection. And this is BioGrow.
And what's this made from?
I don't know, it's also rather secretive. It has something to do with potato peels.
Okay.
How long has Positronics been going officially as a business?
Officially 10 years. Positronics actually started as a manufacturer of lights, especially designed for home growing.
Can I come here and buy weed to smoke it here? Are you a cafe also, a coffee shop here too?
Well, we sort of see it as a service. Most of the customers here are smokers. I mean, they're supposed to be.
Right.
We don't like people that come here and that don't smoke.
Right.
You know? So most people want to smoke. We only sell one kind of marijuana for a cheaper price than usual, and we of course try to sell only the best that we can get.
So you can buy some marijuana here, but you can also come here and smoke for free and be a tester.
Also.
On your research that you're doing with different plants.
Yes. This is what we call the Cannabis test card. And the idea is that we give people a free test of marijuana, but we want them to write down what they think of it. So they can give 0 to 100 points for the way the product looks, the way it smells, the taste, and of course the effect. We add them up and we compare them to other products. Huh? Do you want to smoke this really?
Yes.
Or shall I just blow some air in this?
Yeah, just blow some air into it here. Okay. That's a wonderful device.
And it's hygienic.
Yes.
I'm Mila Jansen, and I'm the inventor of the pollinator.
What is a pollinator?
The pollinator is a machine that looks like it's going to change a 5,000-year-old industry.
What does it do?
It makes hash in a much faster and way than was formerly possible, and also it makes hash from what is normally considered the waste material, being the leaves. I'd been working all winter shaking leaves over a flat screen to collect what in Holland is known as pollen. And I was standing in front of my dryer one day and realized what I had been doing with those leaves all the time was exactly what the dryer was doing to my clothes. And we started from there. We built one and built two and used them, and now we make them commercially and sell them.
They even carry some things we've never heard of, like the hydraulic hash press.
We have about 36 different varieties, and everybody has a specific preference for a specific taste. What members of our fan club do, they see this as a library where they can pick out certain varieties that they really like. And all they need to do is just buy one clones or a couple or 20 or 40 of them and go home and grow them, and they're certain of a certain quality and a certain variety.
Goes. Okay, well now as you see, it's a very nice shining plaque, you see that? You can feel it yourself, it's really sticky.
I always like to describe it, if you use the pollen out of the machine immediately, it's like getting hit on the head by a mallet. If you would keep the pollen for a year and work on it with a mallet, you would learn what it is to get high. And so that's what I'm trying to teach them now. They gotta wait.
I see that smirk again. First we'll take care of you guys. How does that
feel, man? What do you think about that?
I heard a lot of Americans talk about their policy back in America. That really surprised me too. That so many people are in jail for smoking weed or marijuana. Totally new stories for me.
Hi.
Hi, Rose.
What's your name?
William, from Northern California. Hi. Hi.
Why are you in Amsterdam?
Well, we've come to Amsterdam to experience the freedom that your society offers and cultivation and acceptance of marijuana in its society, versus where we come from in Northern California, which is having a lot of problems. The laws are actually going the other way. They're getting more and more funding for aerial search and the helicopters and ground forces for against planting of marijuana. They just put everybody by gunpoint down to the ground, including the women, the children. It doesn't matter, whoever's on the farm. If your grandmother was visiting for the weekend, it wouldn't matter. She'd be subject to this, and they just go through your homes, go through your greenhouses, go through your gardens, look around your land searching for plants.
That was really frightening for me to hear that. And I learned a lot about how the world and America and the Netherlands are going, or how you say it? Yeah, it's really amazing. And I hope for the people in America that will really change soon.
Drugs represent something so strong and so symbolic and so moral in the United States that for the time being it is not possible to discuss this in a rational way. The United States in the field of drugs could be compared to Iran in the field of topless bathing. I mean, nobody would think of discussing with a mullah the possibility of when topless bathing would be possible at the beaches of Iran. It's a type, intensity, a quality of fundamentalism that makes it something on its own.
There are about 400,000 people a year arrested in the United States, and there are probably 60,000 people in jail right now as we speak for marijuana. Some of them are doing life without parole. Hard to believe.
Because of cannabis legislation, I can walk into anybody's house, seize everything he possesses, and make sure that he has not a dollar left for his defense, and then put him on trial. Where else can you do that?
The United States has had a war on drugs that has been a failure and has left 4 million, 5 million, 10 million casualties strewn along the way. Dead policemen, hundreds of thousands of people in jail, property and lives destroyed. Maybe we should try a different model. And that's why Amsterdam is important.
Actually, what you see here is a coffee shop of 1650 about. Especially those painters, they like to paint the inside of the inn. What happens in the inn is that if you look very carefully, again, you see that those farmers didn't have enough money to smoke tobacco only. Tobacco was very expensive, so they used to mix it with hemp. You can still see the seeds on the table in the straws of hemp out of the ashtray. It's a coffee shop that in those days was somehow the same as if you see the coffee shops now.
Substance use, including alcohol, tobacco, drugs, is as old as this planet is of all cultures, from the Amazon jungle to our concrete jungle. Therefore, government making legislation has to deal with the reality of substance use. By prohibiting cannabis, government forces its citizens towards the use of unhealthier substances.
I remember 3 years ago, I was maybe selling to 5 or 10 customers in a week, and now I have like 300-400 customers in a week.
Could you describe your silver pearl?
Yeah, what I really like with it is the work out of it, you know, like the 3, 4, 5, 6 hours after you smoke the joint. It has a very nice spiritual feeling of that plant. And this is what I have on my menu. I try to have all different kinds of pots. And every kind of pot has a different workout. Some can be stronger, some can be less stronger, but maybe the less stronger has a better workout, and that's what I try to tell to my customers also.
A better high.
A better high, you know. Well, you call it a high, but I call it more a feeling, you know. It could be a high, it could also be something different.
Do not feel anything.
It takes a while.
It'll take a little bit, take a few parts.
This is something, yeah, pictures of
Greece.
like something to drink or some video tape.
I want
So what do you want?
I was like feeling drunk. Like in and out. Going like this, and I really like it better on the ground. So being in control of myself. But people must have their own choice, I think. They don't harm anybody.
Our cannabis policy is a cornerstone of our overall drug policy. If you look at the average age of hard drug users in the Netherlands, it's been rising every year, meaning that they get older and there's not getting more. The number of new young hard drug users is declining.
So the mistake that many people make, both conservative and progressive, is that availability is seen as use. Availability is fate. Just like pharmacology is not fate, availability is not fate. People choose their drugs according to cultural images that they have. And if the cultural image is so that it is not seen as interesting, like heroin for instance, 99.8% of the population will not even consider of trying it.
In the Netherlands, there's a large consensus from conservative to progressive that we should regulate cannabis, legalize cannabis. I mean, talking mainstream politics. The only reason we don't, or we haven't, or we can't, is America, France, and outside.
Now, the United States is a constant pressure to which we have grown used, like the rain. It's something that is there.
Can we go back, closing the coffee shops? No way. I mean, it won't happen. There's no basis for it. There is no way you can do it. Nobody wants it.
What's dangerous in this world? You can drive a car and be dead. You can walk across the street, you'll be dead. You can drink alcohol as much as you want. You can do everything. You can take medicines. Go to the pharmacy and take medicines. You can do anything. So why can't you smoke pot?
Well, what does marijuana do for you, Ed?
I only use it for research purposes. Now, most people use it to get high, but whenever I smoke it, it's strictly for research purposes. So I can bring my readers the best information possible.
We say that marijuana is an entheogene drug, meaningly that it is a drug that brings you into contact with the God in yourself and in others. And every smoker that you tell this will recognize it, even if you hear it for the first time. Exactly. And it's a sacred drug, and it should be treated completely differently.
I think marijuana will be legal, and when it becomes legal, it will go like this. One day, the wall will be up, and the next day, it will implode, and there'll be no more wall, just like in Berlin.
Days until the sunrise, then watch the morning dew tumble in its way to love tides, wrap a night around us, blue skies, good things around us we fly, like songs within our hearts, leaping over the charts. I am into the stars. It's true that I long to know you in every way, but if there is something that I can't forget today, it's your star eyes, drawing songs and laughter from me. Sometimes I can see a river flowing into the sea, and it's reflecting the stars.